That's so cool.
It's okay.
It's going to be amazing. Yes. It's going to be amazing.
That's probably enough drinks for tonight.
That's so cool. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing.
That's probably enough drinks for tonight.
Yes. That's so cool.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yes. That's so cool.
That's probably enough drinks for tonight.
That's so cool.
It's okay.
Yes. It's going to be amazing.
It's okay.
Yes. That's so cool.
That's probably enough drinks for tonight.
2, 1. Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome to the live stream. Yes, we are here once again with another Percona live stream. I am here with Evgeniy this week. You might have heard him on the latest Hoss Talks Foss podcast. Welcome. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm okay, as usual.
Just
building,
okay.
building, and building. Yeah.
Yes, you have so many things to build. There are so many things being built right now. It's crazy. So today we're going to be specifically covering how to install Percona's various components, the different software that we have, specifically looking at our server software, so Postgres, MySQL, and Mongo. And this is going to cover some of the basics around how to install from a repository, what are the different install options we have, look at some of the special scripts we have to help you choose the right software and things like that. And if we have time, we might even get to look at how you could build your own from source. Won't that be fun? But before we begin, I want to point out something. Evgeniy has a special shirt on today because he is one of Percona's unsung heroes. He is one of the unsung heroes of the forum. He had over 100 answers to questions last year. In fact, yesterday he was just talking to someone, he said, about some sort of installation problem or questions. What was the question, by the way? Was it an interesting question?
So there was an issue during installation on Debian 10.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, it's funny because as the different releases come out, you run into different issues. And as you try to jump, potentially to different distros that aren't officially supported, you run into all kinds of weird things. Like I tried to install on Amazon Linux and ran into all kinds of weird stuff because Amazon Linux is a little different, right? And it's not an officially supported build.
Well, it's supported. In general, it's supported, but it depends what Amazon Linux did you use. Was it Amazon Linux 1 or Amazon Linux 2?
I don't remember. It was probably
because
probably two.
Amazon Linux is based on CentOS 6, and Amazon Linux 2 is based on CentOS 7. That might be some issues.
Okay, and so we support 2, or do we support 1?
We support both of them.
Both of them. Okay. I don't even remember what the issue was.
Some products are not available for Amazon Linux 1 because CentOS 6 is already end of life. Yeah. And that's why we might not prepare packages for it.
Okay. Fair enough. I don't, like I said, I don't remember that, but the number of builds out there is pretty significant. So why don't we just jump right into it? And let's talk about how we can install the various Percona products and what sort of methods are out there. And I'll let you share your screen and we can go from there.
I would suggest starting from our Percona repo because in general, you might download packages from our website or from our repo. The suggested way is to use packages and our packaging repos. But still, all packages are available on the website and you can download them. Even you might see that there is a bundle tarball which contains all needed packages for this operation system. For now, it's Oracle Linux 7. But yeah. Yeah, this tarball is just containing all packages. They are compressed and you don't need to copy all links to these packages. Just one tarball and that's it. But once you download it, there would be some more interesting things you should do because there might be some dependency issues and you might need to create your local repo, for example. That's why it's better to use our repo. One more way to install everything is to use our generic tarbals. It's a bit outdated way of installation, I would say, because, well, it's not contain all needed dependencies. It's just precompiled binaries. And I don't think it's valuable to use it in production. For tests, I assume it's okay, but not in prod. But still, we have them. The only difference is that sometimes we provide glibc 2.12, sometimes glibc 2.17. It depends on which platform we use for build. Because if we provide support of CentOS 6, we use the oldest operation system and it's supported operation system, and it would be CentOS 6. It would be glibc 2.12. So all newer versions would be backward compatible, and this binary tarball would work on any operation systems with glibc older than 2.12. And the best installation way is, of course, our repo. Previously, we have only one repo. It was called Percona, and yeah, we have apt and yum repos. What is inside of these repos? First of all, it's Percona-release package and a lot other packages. For example, you can see Percona server for Mongodb, extra backup, extra DB cluster, and what is Percona repo in general? Now it can be called also original. This repo contains all our products that we ever built, and for all operation systems. But you see, it's hard to maintain such repos as there are a lot of versions, already unsupported versions, for example, Percona Server 5.1. And we decided to create separate repo for each standalone product. And now you can see there are a lot of them. Yeah. So let's proceed. All of us are important, Matt. Yeah. Okay, so we created separate repos for every our product. For example, you can see PMM client and PMM2 client. There are also repos, for example, PXB 2.4, PXB 8.0, PXC, PXC 5.7. So we created this repo to separate products. For example, if you want to install Percona server, why do you need Percona server from MySQL? Why do you need have enabled repo for PostgreSQL, for example, or for MongoDB? You selected only one repo and work with it. So any dependency issues which could appear with any other repo are not does not affect your system. For example, if you want to install Percona server from MySQL, it wouldn't try to install Percona extra DB cluster for you because both these packages provides MySQL. And we decided that this setup would work better Additionally, in original or Percona repo, we stored only one dev package version for each product. So you wasn't able to install older versions. For these standalone repos, we decided that it's not good behavior, and now you can install any of 5 latest versions. Just set what version do you need. For example, let's check PXB repo, and we will see in main all versions 8.0.27, 26, 25, 23, 22. You can install any of this version, and you don't need to download it from website, create local repo, and install packages. Because, for example, why you might need to create local repo? You download packages, for example, Percona XtraDB cluster, and there might be some dependencies. But if you're going to install packages using dpkg command, it wouldn't resolve dependencies. You would get error, and you will need to install dependencies manually and try installation again. It's great that starting from Ubuntu 18 and Debian 9, you already can install local packages that you downloaded on your system using apt command. apt resolves dependencies. But previously, for example, in Debian 8 and Ubuntu 14, 16, it wasn't possible. So how we can configure this on your system? Because you know, all these repos, remember everything, is not really easy because we have a big bunch of products. For this, we created Percona-release script. And sure, there is a standalone repo for it. So first of all, you need somehow get it on your system. There's the 5 latest versions. Let's use the latest one, and I will start Vagrant. Oh, I destroyed it. Okay. While VM is starting, I would tell what is inside this package. Inside this package, you can find configuration script and GPG keys in order to verify that all packages are provided by Percona, because all our packages are signed with GPG key, and you can verify that it's our packages and not someone else try to break your system.
Evgeniy, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
You can still hear me. So I'm going to ask the audience then if they can still hear me, because I just made a quick adjustment. So maybe they can, maybe they can't. Let's see.
So finally it started. And
nice. Mr. David Stokes says he can hear me now. So thank you everyone for coming. I'm sorry, audio problems. I was telling Evgeniy this morning that I woke up to this machine being rebooted after an update and everything went wonky. So I'm glad you can hear me now. Continue on.
Okay, let's download this package and install it. First of all, once it's a fresh machine, we need to update apt repos because there will be some dependencies which we need to install. And what we need to do, first of all, we need to install package GNU PG2. install. For the future versions of Percona-release package, we are going to fix this, and this package will be installed automatically as dependencies. But as I already told, for example, on Debian 8 systems, it's not possible to resolve this dependency. That's why we need to install the package manually. But as Debian 8 is already end of life, we are going to improve this. Okay, so up, install Percona-release. And yeah, we already got a help message, how to configure it. And you can see that there is setup command. What more commands can we get? So the Percona-release help.
That's a lot of packages. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's not packages, it's repos.
Oh, repos.
But
Sorry, that's a lot of repos.
Yeah, it shows available repos for installation, but then we decided that, hey, why do we need to put them, hard code them into script and so on? We made this script more intelligent, and now it automatically checks if the repo is available or not. For example, if I would say, hey, Percona-release, enable, for example, Percona2 repo release, it will say, hey, there is no such repo. But for example, we don't have in this list PSMDB 5.0. What we will say? Enable PSMDB 5.0 release. Hey, it is. So it checks our repo availability.
So if you haven't updated this package, you won't get the list and the help, but you can still get the releases that are out there potentially?
Yeah. We are going to add additional comments that will currently Percona-release shows all enabled repos, but we will add maybe list commands that will check all available repos and provide you with big output. But for now, the best way to verify if the repo is available or not is to go to repo.percona.com, and you will see this big list of repos. So I even don't know, should we put it into console, because it will take maybe 2 or 3 screens.
Yeah. And, I mean, one of the things you could do is make it so if you did the help, you could pass it like the type of database you're looking at. Like, you know, if you want MySQL or Mongo to be able to put, you know, the Percona-release help Mongo and just list the MongoDB.
Yeah, good idea, Matt.
Yeah, that could reduce it quite a bit as well, and make it easier for people to find what they're looking for. Now, these are the official GA'd, but we can also do experimental, right? And beta releases.
Yeah, we have 3 types of repos: release, testing, and experimental. In release, we put everything which is GA or GA ready, let's say. Sometimes we put some better versions, but we put them into testing repo or experimental. What does testing repo mean? Testing repo means that any of these packages at any time can become GA. So we are testing them. And experimental is just our testing builds and alpha and beta versions. So never use experimental or testing repos in production, because at any time packages can be changed there, and there might be some issues. They're still in testing.
Okay, yeah. And so if you want to test out some of the new features, beta builds, just be mindful that, you know, you would have to change that from release to testing or experimental.
in general, it's easy with the script because, for example, let's check what repos are available now, enabled now in our system. Percona-release, show, and it say, hey, we have enabled original. This is old, huge repo. Purell, it's Percona-release script. So at any time you can get update for Percona-release package. And we already have enabled PSMDB 5.0 repo. If you want to enable, for example, testing repo, you just want to say, hey, testing.
Mm-hmm.
And it will tell, hey, we have 2 enabled repos. So in this case, for example, you're using PSMDB 5.0 in production, you installed latest packages in it, and finally you enable testing repo. Run an apt upgrade, it will update packages.
To the testing. So whatever the latest one is, it will overwrite.
Yeah.
So that's
exactly.
something to be careful of. How would you remove the testing if you did that by accident?
I will type disable.
See, look at that. See how easy it is? There we go.
Right. And here it is. Sometimes also there are some tricks. For example, you want to add some products have dependencies. For example, you want to use extra backup together with PXC or PBM together with PSMDB. So you don't need to type to enable repo by repo. You can, for example, say Percona-release setup, for example, PS 8.0. Let's check. What is going on now? It disables all enabled repositories and enable Percona Server 8.0 repository and Percona Tools repository.
Okay.
Why is needed? Because in PS 8.0 repo, we have Percona Server. But in tools, we have extra backup, Percona Toolkit, and some other stuff. For example, you want to test your setup and you want to run sysbench. It's also in tools repo. But if you want, for example, only extra backup on any repo, on any your system, you can say, hey, enable only PXB, and it will disable also all repos and enable only extra backup repo.
Yeah, and the reason that those who are watching would want to do this is because a lot of these packages, especially older versions, if you have incompatibilities, could impact one another or not work as expected. So if you've got a version of extra backup, which is really old, it might not work with the latest version of Percona server for MySQL, or vice versa. If you have one that's really new, there might be some compatibility issues. And so the idea is the repositories get disabled to prevent sort of those issues from occurring.
Yeah. And also, while talking about repos, I cannot say anything about our distributions because our distributions are currently our flagmans. And what is distribution in general? Distribution is just a set of components which we confirm that are tested and correctly work together. For example, we have such distribution for PXC, Percona XtraDB cluster, for Percona server, for Percona server for Mongodb, for Percona PostgreSQL setup, and how it works, what is inside distribution, and how to work with them. Now, if you want to install Percona server 8.0, for example, you need to enable Percona server repo. Then you need to enable tools repo or PXB repo to have it inside. But also, we have distribution repositories, which contains a bigger amount of packages. Let's just check what is inside them. For example, let's use PDPS repo 0.26. So Percona-release setup PDS 8.0.26 release.
Typo.
we do
Typo. Yeah. Yeah. PDP.
PD. Yeah, thanks. So we enabled it, and currently you will get only one version of Percona server, extra backup. Additionally, we put here orchestrator, and let's check via web. It will be faster. So what we have? MySQL shell, orchestrator, toolkit, extra backup, PostrgreSQL.
Yeah, and so the reason, like for those who are watching, just to explain a little bit behind the scenes here, one of the things that we found quite early on was there's a lot of really great software and packages out there people use with MySQL or Mongo on a fairly frequent basis. And so the idea is these distributions, the repositories, put all of the versions we know to work together of all of those common tools out in the ecosystem into one package. So you know that the version of Orchestrator will work with the version of MySQL we're shipping. So all of those kind of bundled together and give you a full list of things that are kind of version locked to upgrade, lock and step, and work together.
Yeah, and additional tricky thing about our distributions is that we create a separate repo for each distribution. So you can stick only for one version of any product. So if you don't want to make any updates and you want to use Percona server for MySQL 8.0.25, you set up this repo, and that's it. You will never get any updates. In order to update to 8.0.26, you need to enable this repo, and only after that you will get update. But if you still want to have these rolling updates, you need to enable another repo. It will be PDPS 8.0, and only in this repo you will get updates.
So you have the capability to either use the full 8.0 branch and follow along and update as updates occur, or you can pick a specific version. So really, I think most people will probably end up using the 8.0, the more general, with the updates included, and then update as they want. But if you do have that need to lock into a version and you want to prevent it or prevent an accidental upgrade when you're not ready, you can lock in and then upgrade as you go. And quick question for you, Evgeniy. You tell me. So if you're going to go from 8.0.25 to 8.0.26, is the upgrade path still the same then? So is it just you change the repository and then you run the apt update? So okay. There you go.
Just the same as usual.
It's just
as easy as possible.
Yeah. So it's just a protection.
I also think it's really useful, for example, for PostgreSQL setups, because still there are a lot of 9 versions installed everywhere in the world.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of older versions of Postgres for sure.
Yeah, that's why just enable one repo, and you're there. The packages will never be updated before you decided that it's high time to update them.
Well, but that's not 100% true, is it? Like, so if there is a, what about a point release or a sub release? If there's a fix to 8.0.26, and it's a hot fix or something that needs to get fixed because of a CVE, and it doesn't increment it to 27, because we've seen that sometimes. Well, that
if there would be CVE, then we will update packages in exact this repo.
Yeah. Okay. So there is a caveat to that. So it's not going to upgrade to 8.0.27, but if there was a fix or something that needed to upgrade to 8.0.26 specifically, then it would get included in that, and so that fix would then show up.
Additionally, what I want to show is how it works on CentOS 8 and Red Hat 8 systems, because there are some differences with Ubuntu and Debian. So let me just copy paste to the package.
And just while you're doing that, just so everybody knows, once you have those repos set up, it's just like adding any other package. So just, apt-get, Percona server, things like that. Oh, app stream.
Oh, interesting. Oh, it's because it's CentOS 8 and it's already end of life. And wait, do I have any other?
You've got Rocky. And RHEL 8. You have RHEL 8.
Let's try Rocky. But it might be a bit old image. RHEL 8, why it's not very useful? Because it's needed to have subscription for it.
Mm. You have a nice Slackware one there, I see. Ooh, Slackware. I haven't used Slackware in years.
It was a question on forum about compiling extra backup on Slackware.
Wow.
And I decided, hey, why I couldn't check this?
Oh wait, so if anybody's watching, and and if you're running Slackware, like tell us. I'm curious. Like, is anyone out there running Slackware? I mean, seriously, I haven't seen someone run it in years. I mean, I guess it's possible, but wow.
And in the result, we solved this build issue. So it was possible to compile Pixby.
Wow.
Slackware.
All right.
Okay, let's try. Rocky Linux seems works well.
Now, I don't know. It's interesting. So as we talk about the CentOS thing, now with CentOS gone, people have started to move around to different, things. I don't know how many people are going to stream versus, looking at these alternatives yet. But I think a lot more are really, really considering the alternatives.
Yeah, because there were already some various things with CentOS 8 before it's gone end of life. For example, there were some cases once they removed packages from repos, they added new version, but removed old one, and all packages that has version dependencies were broken. It wasn't possible to install them. For example, we had such issue with our PostgreSQL packages as they depend on LLVM.
Okay.
And CentOS 8 just decided, hey, let's remove these packages from repo. And what should we do? We compile the LLVM and put it into our repo.
Yeah. So we got to fix those things, right?
Yeah, if operation system does not work, then we should fix it.
Yeah.
What I want to show is just an interesting thing is that it has DNF and DNF has modules. And in order to add any package in a module, you can just do it as a patch release for it. And it's not so easy. So sometimes you need to disable modules. But how we can make our users' life easier? Our script detects if it needed to disable module or not. So for example, let's start ppg 14.1. and it's asked, hey, I need to disable modules. Do you want to disable it or not? Surely we want, but it's not very good idea to do this for automation because nobody runs the setups manually. Everyone has Ansible, Puppet, running AWS, and so on. So it's not very convenient, I would say. So what we can say, we have an automatic way, and everything would pass. And we installed our repo, and modules were disabled.
There you
So
go.
in any case, you can make this work automatically, and for manual setup, to check what's going on, you can disable it. So, and yes, for what we can say, seems that's it about repo setup and so on. And we can move forward to builds. I think.
So I'm going to ask the thing that's on everyone's tongue. So you're gonna build for the M1 right now, right?
No, not yet.
No, what? Why not? Why not? So I did get this question over the weekend. So before we move to builds, let me ask this question here, this will be an interesting one for me. So, what extra work has to go in when you're going to build for something like an ARM processor?
In general, I would say that just to check build flags. What would be different?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
because we just need to start doing it. I can say, hey, we need to check these dependencies. Let's start doing it. And while doing it, we will see what's going on. How I made our builds. I just started. When I see an error, I investigate it and move forward.
So it's just a process of starting the work. But as you get into something like that, because that's a whole new architecture. So, the risk is always, without the right build flags, it could still build, but it's going to slow down, or there's going to be some error later on when you're running that you might not know. So you really rely on a lot more QA testing for those as well to find the idiosyncrasies and the nuances, right?
Yeah, and the main part of the work would be on QA, because I can build even sometimes with wrong build flags, but it will work differently and incorrectly. And it would be QA task to verify if it built correctly and if it works correctly. Because what I can check, I can build it, I can install package, I can deinstall package, I can update package, and run some mtars. That's it. Because I don't know what should be inside of it. Some stress testing, some performance testing, it's on QA.
So it's interesting because one of the other questions that came up over the weekend, because I was doing a Q&A for Peter on his, he did a CPU architecture talk at FOSDEM. So of course, ARM comes up, right? Because it was one of the things on there was ARM, but also PowerPC or the RISC, the open RISC came up, and it's like, well, that's even yet another architecture that might have idiosyncrasies.
Well, I made a few builds for Power 8 architecture, and I wouldn't say it was much different from our standard 64-bit AMD architecture.
Okay. And so, so from a power perspective, the builds you've done, it was not a terrible, change to switch architectures there.
Yeah, I spent maybe 2 or 3 days and the product was built correctly, worked correctly. And also I included in this time automation. I prepared build script, I prepared build pipeline. So everything was done and it worked.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's assume that we're going to build. And if you want, I'll just plug in my Raspberry Pi back here and you can just build on that, right? No? Okay.
I have AWS.
Oh, yes, you can use the Graviton. But anyways, go move forward. Show us how someone might want to build. And honestly, there's not very few people still build from source. Some do. And normally it's more of a, let's say, a relatively small percentage of the population choose source.
Matt, you would be surprised, but
Really?
there are a lot of questions on forum about builds.
Well, of course, there might be a lot of questions, but I still think that the vast majority of people are going to stick with a repository or a tarball, if they, unless there's a need. I don't know. What do people who are watching think? Is there any love for building these, from source? You of course you build from source. Yeah, yes, of course you do. Yes, but I don't know. Is there anybody out there who is doing that for their own production systems? And if so, why? I'm curious. Because I think from a repo perspective, you kind of get that QA, tested, verified with all the correct build flags. But go ahead and show us the correct way to build from source.
Because our way to build from source is just common for all Percona products. We have done build scripts for them. For example, what product we'll try to build?
Which product?
Matt,
Let's do Percona server for Mongo.
Okay. Let's use Mongo.
I hope he doesn't say anyone but that one.
No.
Right? Like, let's hope he doesn't say that.
Let's use version 5.0. So we have here Percona packaging repo directory, and inside it we have directory scripts. And here is PSMDB builder sh script. For example, I would open in separate tab Percona server for MySQL just to show that we have it. Percona server. It is, and build PS, and we have it. And you might see that in most cases, it's just the same. A bit less flags, but it's the same. So we prepare this build script a bit small. Yeah, relatively small.
1,200 lines.
Yeah. And what this script can do for us? It can install dependencies, because at any time, the main question would be, hey, what packages I need to install to build it correctly? And once you run build, hey, I forgot to install GCC, I forgot to install some libs, for example, OpenSSL in correct version, and forgot about additional modules, and so on and so forth. So this script will do everything for you. Additionally, it will get sources, so it will prepare source tarball for you. The next stage would be prepare source package, because we want repeatable builds. And how we can ensure that this build is repeatable? Just create source package, and everyone can build their own package just the same as ours from this source package. Also, the script can prepare packages and binary tarballs. And I will say one more time, we have the scripts for any our product. So just download the script and run it. In help, you will see that how to run it. So we wouldn't have enough time to build it, to build from scratch, for example, Mongo, but I will show how it works and then stop. For example, I will do download build script. It requires some build directory. I always do this way because it's easy. What will be the next step? Sudo. I like to see a huge output because it helps me to find any errors. Minus build dir. It needs absolute path to the build directory. That's why I use this way and minus install depths, the main question. And you see, it detected what operation system it is and say, hey, it's RPM, and started installing all needed packages. The same way.
So my question here is, with this build script, is it going to then just grab all the dependencies, or will it run the build itself? Will it actually start to do the compile?
No, because we pass only install depths.
Okay.
If we want to run build, for example, what we need to do for build, we need source tarball. We need some sources to compile. So minus get sources. Also, we can pass branch, tag. Even we can pass repo, because sometimes, for example, developer want to build it from its own fork.
Yes, and I think that's probably going to be a very common thing if you are going to build from source. Where I see it is you've built something as an enhancement, and so how would you do that? How would you include your own source with this build script?
Repo minus repo, and
then you just put where it is.
GitHub, blah blah blah.
Okay. So you can pass in the repo, then it will go get it and build it from that with the right flags for, but it needs to be a fork of our Percona server for Mongo for that to work.
Yeah, let's just open the script and I will show you. We use what we use. We have a param repo and it's on GitHub.
Right. So then you would replace that, or like you would that as a flag.
So you can pass here anything you want. Or if you are doing a lot of builds, then you just can update this line in script, and it will always use your own fork. So if we want to make build, stop get sources, and it will just download sources. But sometimes, well, we download the sources, we know that it builds, we want to build tarball. We can just say, hey, tarball, or build tarball. I don't remember exactly. And where is my help?
Where's your help?
Yeah. Build tarball. So we can pass them together. If we want to build RPM, we can pass all three params: get sources, build source RPM, and build RPM. And it will go stage by stage. First of all, it will get sources, then prepare source tarball, and then prepare RPM. And on each stage, it will store artifacts. Each artifact will be stored in a separate directory. For example, if it's sources, it will be called directory will be called source tarball. If it's RPM, it will be called RPMs. If it's tarball, it will be called tarball, and you will be able to use any of these artifacts. It's really useful because in build pipeline we use Jenkins, and we need to store these artifacts and pass somehow. So
right.
it's easy for us. We have artifact. We just need to save it and pass to the next stage.
Okay.
Or, for example, you just need to have source tarball and to just check that everything is stored correctly. So just get sources and that's it. So I want just to show that everything starts is if I pass several params, get sources and minus build tarball. And what did it say? Git command not found. Yeah, because we didn't finish this install. Because we don't have Git installed on the system, we don't have some dependencies, that's why it doesn't work.
Fair enough.
And the same just to show that it's a bit intelligent. Build here. So it's again detected that it's Debian and installed packages for Debian.
Fair enough.
And sure, this script can be used everywhere in Jenkins, locally in Docker, everywhere. It will install dependencies and build what you want. And again, the script is available for all our products. A bit another story for PostgreSQL, because we still don't make a lot of changes for PostgreSQL. That's why we have separate repo with build scripts, but still we have the same flags for all build scripts. So you don't need to think, hey, yesterday I built Mongo. Today I built Percona server for MySQL. What flags I should use? They're the same.
Yeah,
and in my mind, it's the only correct way for writing build scripts. Use the same flags, and it will make your life and everyone's life easier.
Makes sense. All right. So I don't see any questions out there. We've got about 5 minutes left here. So,
yeah,
Evgeniy, is there anything else you wanted to show us? And I'm going to switch over. I'm going to switch over to the other screen, and hopefully people can still hear me. I hope. We shall see. But hopefully everyone out there is still hearing me, no problems at all. Although it looks like I might have duplicated myself. We'll see. Hopefully that helps with everything there. So, Evgeniy, thank you for coming today. Appreciate it. For those who are watching this live or after the fact, please like this, subscribe to our channel. Sorry about the sound issues we had earlier. Hopefully this will all get resolved as we go forward. We're trying out some new ways to stream and make this a little more interactive, make the screen a little prettier. So do appreciate you all hanging out, though. All right. Well, thanks a bunch.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks.